started by me because I had battled a lot of mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety. And I battled it all my life without actually knowing what it meant. I thought that I was just nervous most of the time, and I didn't understand my triggers, and I was just very beside myself, and a lot of times I couldn't get out of bed to do things that I would love to do. So as a resident therapist, Cashel has already introduced herself, I would like to ask you, first and foremost, when it comes to therapy, how beneficial is it to someone to actually go to see out a therapist? Can you just overcome your anxiety and your depression on your own?
So the thing about therapy is about being two things. One is honest / authentic, and two is transparent. So I want to be honest and transparent with you all and say, I can't call myself a therapist just yet. I'm warming up to it, right? So once I get that license, I can call myself a therapist front way and back way, but in the meantime, I'm a warm-up version. So more counselor, I would say. So therapy is one of those things, I mean, at this point, it's like beaten over and over again about how much in our community it's something that has been looked down upon. I remember being younger and having people tell me, well, if you knew God, you wouldn't need a therapist, right? Who's heard that before? Please, right? Okay, so we have to be careful not to allow other people's misunderstanding about who God is and what health is to be influential to who we are. It's a completely different story. Maybe that's who they think God is in their perspective. That's not who He is. So leaving space open for being authentic says, I'm not feeling well. It could be for a whole host of reasons. I could have gotten out of a relationship. I could have moved. I could have completed a task and thought that things should be going differently and they're not. I could be on Instagram every day scrolling and wondering why everyone's life is perfect and mine isn't. I could be not working the way I wish. I may not look the way I wish. I could have had a baby and I'm supposed to be expected to feel perfect. I feel like I'm in hell. I mean, we can go on and on, right? And so the thing about it, the first thing is the transparency, which echoes awareness. It's being able to say to yourself, something's not right, right? Like if your tooth hurts, who's fronting about a toothache? Your tooth hurts, right? If your feet hurt, you go home and change your shoes, right? If you're indigested, you eat something else. It's all the same when it relates to your mind and your heart. So being transparent and saying something's not right. And secondly, being authentic about that process, which means people think that therapists, like some people have been using their pastor as their therapist, or their partner, or their dog, or clothes, or food, or gambling, or sex. I've been there. Anybody else openly willing to admit using sex as a therapy?
The food part.
Yeah?
In general. I drink all of it.
That was all praying. I saw it. She was praying. Right? I mean, let's talk about it. We have our relationship, Mr. I won't call you an expert. Right? In the house, but that's something that doesn't get talked about a lot in our community, and it's very much so the truth. That we utilize sex inappropriately because we have something going on inside that's too painful to sit by ourselves with. So for some reason, we think being in a bed with somebody else is going to cure it, and we're just diving deeper into a rabbit hole. So being transparent, being authentic, and saying something's not right. How do I address this something? And not being afraid. Being well is a brave act because we live in an unwell society. It's normal to be unwell. So when you decide, I want to be well, you're practicing bravery. And, you know, people think bravery looks like all kinds of things what we see in the movie, but that's not it. It's making a choice to take care of yourself and saying, you know what, something's not right. Maybe I need to be curious, and if I like to draw, maybe I should try an art therapist. Or maybe I love to dance, maybe I'll try a dance therapist. Or I love to talk, so maybe I'll try a cognitive therapist, someone who's working in the brain. Or it's my behavior, something's wrong with how I'm acting, I need to see a behavioral therapist, right? Or actually, I think that I see the people around me. Here's another one that happens. The people around me seem to be really out of control. There's something going on with the way they process information. They may be overreacting to things. They're aggressive. So them being there is not for your judgment, it's for your reflection. because it's more than likely it's going on in you too. They're just acting it out for you. So it's really having that awareness and transparency and bravery and saying, something's not right, I need to seek somebody out and I need to get assistance with this.
I want to say that I completely agree with everything you said, because for me, I know for a long time I thought there was something wrong with me. When I couldn't get out of bed, when I was very depressed, and I had a lot of anxiety, and people around me would tell me like, oh, you just gotta, pray, you just gotta get up and go. You gotta just do it, not think about it. And I'm like, well, why can't my mind overcome my body? Why can't I get out of bed and just go to the gym like I used to go to the gym, or just not eat that food that I don't like? And when you would ask sometimes for advice, they would be like generic kind of advice back, because although they do the same thing, they're going through it with you, they don't understand it, they don't know how to like have a conversation. So when I was able to meet that person who kind of understood people, I could say like we're therapists for each other, like it was really great, because then she would give me insights to why I was the way I was, like my triggers, for example. I would find out that, hey, putting on a brave face for me could just be not overthinking and getting up and running errands before work. Because I would literally wake up in the morning and say, if I don't do it X, Y, and Z certain type of way, it's wrong, like you shouldn't do it at all. And that would keep me in the same slump over and over again. So when she was through conversation, I was like, yo, that's a trigger for me. A trigger for me is just getting up and thinking, I have an errand to run before work and I can't do it. And I would just be stuck. And stuff like that. Even like simple things like going up to my school registrar's office and trying to talk to advise about what I want to do in my next step in college was a trigger for me. And I would wait literally to the last minute when I could not, I had to. And it was like, why can't I like be normal like other people? And that really hurt me, because I thought I was crazy. I thought there was something really wrong with me. But it wasn't until I actually went to a therapist and I sat down in the office and she's like, no, you're normal. A lot of people have anxiety, a lot of people have depression, and what you're going through is something that everyone goes through. And I'm like, so is this like a well-kept secret? Like, I really thought I was alone and I thought it was something wrong with me. What would you say from your point of view to somebody who's sitting there thinking like, there must be something wrong with me, or just somebody who can't identify their triggers?
I probably would say that we have to first all learn to accept that gain and loss is a part of life. Every single thing we want, see, all we think about a lot of times is what we want. We want the house, I want the child, I want the relationship and all that. But you have to realize and consciously know, the minute you get that want, you're gonna be leaving behind a whole bunch of stuff. That some of it you still want and some of it you don't. And so when you leave something behind, there's automatically a process of grief that goes along with it. That's a normal human process. Who here has lost someone that they love? We've been through grief. Grief takes your breath away. There's nothing you can do about it, right? I think grief is probably the one emotion that is so universal and literally, like, it takes my words away. You can't get out of it until it's over, I'm sorry, I got distracted by how I love his smile. I'm not mad though, that's my jam. On another note, and then we're gonna get back to you, I came out the restroom and I saw a clown coming up the stairs. And I was like, she got a clown too? Well, what we gonna do with a clown? Anyway, there's a party across the way, it was too funny. Ask me the question one more time.
How would you tell somebody like to be able to identify their triggers?
Okay, so identifying triggers. I think accountability partners are helpful if you're really living far outside of yourself. And when I say that, I mean, so again, let's go back to the society that we're in right now. Everything is outside of ourselves every day. You have to become a guardian of your gate. That's what I call it. I consciously take out time every 3 months and I cut everybody off. No social media, no phone, no texts, no. It's just me and whatever I want to do and my faith, and that's it. I have to do that. Because if I don't do it, then I'm risking my mind running away from me. And when your mind runs away from you, now all of a sudden you've got all these things going on you can't control, like not wanting to get out the bed. Well, some of that could come from, not you specifically, but for example, I get up and roll over. The first thing I do is go on Instagram every day. And I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling. Your mind is taking in all this content, all this information. Your mind can't even process and file and store all of that information. in the amount of time that we do this. So we're literally like backlogging ourselves over and over. And so then it sits in your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is attached to your fears. And so in your waking life, you're trying to get these things done, but then there's something behind you that's keeping you like pushed down. You can't continue to feed that place. You have to be conscious about the top, which is the front of what you see. And that's when you're living on the inside of you. That's when you can say like, my rhythm is off, something's not right. Or I notice when I get around these people, I feel this way. I notice when I eat this food, I feel this way. I notice if I stay up past a certain time, I feel this way, right? So I think triggers to me are often really easy to spot in how we like associate our lives, like when we put ourselves around. And if all else fails, and that's not something that's readily available to you because sometimes our awareness is not peaked, then using a person like an accountability partner or a friend. There's nothing wrong with doing inventory. How many people have friends here that's like, how many people have a best friend?
I do.
Okay. How many people never argue with their best friend? Never argue with their best friend.
Diana, you want to argue?
Okay?
We don't really have any issue. Like my other friends, like he's told me, yeah,
Wow. The shade. Right? The shade on. Well, it's good. I'm glad that you all are transparent. So I'm glad this argument going on because sometimes people closest to us are able to say, hey, sis, something's wrong, right? And it does cause conflict. And we also have to be not unafraid of conflict and not allow conflict to turn into aggressive behavior. That's two different things. Aggressive behavior is disrespectful to yourself and other people. Conflict is honoring your truth. We don't always have to agree. So keeping people around you that can create positive conflict so that you can, you want to conflict, resolve, move on. Conflict, resolve, move on. There should be something positive coming from that conflict on a regular basis. But that also acts as a form of accountability. It helps you to say like, you know what, I was tripping. Thank you for pointing that out to me.
One more question I had before I go to audience questions. If you have somebody in your court that like you're very close to, how can you communicate with them that when you talk about things that are bothering like anxiety, depression, or anything that in general, that you want them to come from more of a caring place? How do you get them to understand that, saying, just get up and go, just do this, like it's not a big deal, like that in itself bothers you.
Yeah.
Like I want you to kind of have more in-depth look and like realize that it's something more than just surface thing for you.
That's a really great question. So how much time do I have?
10 minutes.
Okay. So I think I probably need 5 minutes. So I answer the question and I'll see if we can do something movement related in 5 minutes. One of the best ways to get that done is not to do anything. Nothing. Again, we are groomed in a society and in an environment that forces us to believe we're supposed to be action-orientated around everything. If I am in pain, unless you are a doctor specific to my pain, I don't need you to do anything for me, but be there. And being there looks like, most probably, 80% of the time, being quiet, saying nothing, and being receptive. That's it. I don't need you to give me advice. I don't need you to tell me where it's coming. I don't need you to give me anything I'm not asking for. If I haven't asked for it, most likely I don't need it. Because when we're in pain, we've been coached to think that we lose our intelligence. We are the most intelligent when we're hurting. Because our bodies and our spirit is now active, and that's the part of us that works higher than where we are. So a lot of times if we're not feeling our best, just knowing how to have somebody be there with you, that's really a large part of what dance therapy is all about, is being with people in their changes, whatever is going on. I have clients had a client last week, she cursed me out. She was angry, and she was angry, and everything that was her problem was me, and what I do, and this, and I said, you have the right to feel that way. Just like this, you have the right to feel that way. You have the right to feel like that. Is there anything that I can do to change how you feel? I can listen to how you feel, right? Not condescending her, but I want to make all the space in the world so she can be with her feelings, because they're her feelings, they're not mine. So the only way we get good at doing that interpersonally is practicing how to be respectful in times of crisis, in times of need, of saying, you know what, sis, I'm here for you. If I'm saying too much, let me know. And humility is everything. Let's learn how to not be so afraid to be wrong. You don't become an adult because you were a child that did everything right. You become an adult because your bones had to grow. That's all. So the more wrong you are, the flyer it gets. You gotta, that's how you really lean into learning who you are, who the world is around you, and like, oh wow, I don't want to know it all. I really don't, because when I do, then I'll stop learning. I can continue to learn, continue to be open. Then the possibilities are endless about who I am and what's coming toward me. Does that make sense?
Yes. A lot.
So I just want because I don't think we can do everybody. Or anybody who wants to participate. Let me get some people up here. Come on. You're not gonna be like on the spot in particular. I'm gonna do it with you. Take off your shoes. You do.
I just have a comment. You said something about being in the door.
Oh my God, am I gonna have
That means I'm at the door, right?
Come on, bitch. Come on, bro.
Does anyone have any questions or catch up before we move into the next section?
Come on, give me a few more. Give me like 4 more people. It's easy and painless.
Come on, lady.
Don't make me snatch you, because I will.
girl.
That's 3. Let's get a man.
Come on, 3 and 4.
One of y'all. I thank you. You look like a raven. I thank you, brother. Perfect. Two more or one more? Actually, 2 more. Just 1 more.
You right here. You right here. Come, let's get her. That's how you get
Let me see who I get. Who's my next person? Sir, are you standing because you're coming up here? Yes. Come on, sunglasses. Come, please. Yes, both of you coming. Come on. You know what, Patricia, I'll work with you. So you and you are going to go together. You 2 will go together. Oh, you 2 go together. You'll work with me. All right, so I want you. Yep. All right, so you don't have to hold hands. So we're gonna take we're gonna take a minute. You guys can talk amongst yourselves if you want. But we're gonna take a minute. So let's decide 1, and 1. All my number 1s are going to be the talkers. My number 2s, which is whoever I didn't touch, are gonna be the listeners. Yes? So all my number 1s are gonna tell number 2s whatever you want us to know about who you are. And number 2, you're not allowed to say anything. Okay? Nothing. But you need to be engaged with them, right? So do the best you can to be in the moment, be engaged, listening to them, being cognizant. Do we know what we're doing? Yes. Yes? Any questions? All right. And you're telling them, I want you to really think about telling them, like, not just who you are, like your name and stuff like that, but all the things you would want someone to know about who you are. Oh, okay? Number 2 is pay attention. I'm saying that to myself. Yes? Okay. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I said, I'm learning to talk. I learn how to talk.
All right, stop. And I want you to really, like, put into your mind what you just heard, okay? Now, you have it? Number twos? So I want you to now show number one who they are with no words. Did y'all hear what our assignment is? So number ones told the number twos who they are, all these things that we're supposed to know about them. Number two's job now is to show number one who they are with no words. Okay? So that could be movement, it could be dance, gestures. Hold on, Patricia, wait, you didn't start yet. All right? And one of the biggest things that's important in this exercise is eye contact. Okay. So no matter what's going on, no words at all, don't lose eye contact. So we got a few seconds. We're going to show number ones who they are based off of what they told us. Are you ready? Yes. And go. What do you saw? Take a second and just talk with your partner. So what did you think? How did it feel for you to express who you were and then see it back?
That was my first time acting.
Very nice. Thank you. Give it up for all the participants. So one of the things, so my partner said something really profound, and then I want to hear more from everyone who's here, but I asked him, I said, how did that feel for you to tell me who you were and then see it reflected back to you? And he said it felt really good because I felt like I was seen. Like I saw myself, and I felt like somebody really heard me, and I saw myself, right? So that's the goal, right? When you talk about therapy, any kind of therapy, the goal is for you to feel and be seen so that you can now take that and go, oh gosh, I want to make something else, or I want to love that, or I want to embrace that. Any other comments from the participants? What happened? What happened for y'all?
I thought it was really fun to show her like what I thought, everything that she was saying. She didn't get some of it, but I wasn't like, you know, I did this because I think that you're a queen and you're regal and you're a caregiver and you're like have a big heart. But it was just like it was good like to demonstrate rather than just talk back.
Yeah.
Because that has to really get me thinking. So like, wait a minute, what did she say? Because I don't have to demonstrate it rather than just regurgitate her words back to her.
And how close knit is that when somebody calls us and we're in the middle of 10,000 things and we're trying to be present because the person wants us on the phone, but really it may not be the best time for us to be on the phone, right? So we're there, our body is there, but we're not there. And what kind of service are we really offering somebody who loves? You're better off saying, I really want to be here for you right now, but my day and my mind won't let me. Forgive me. I will call you back in a little bit, right? Because now I can attend to your feelings and I can certainly attend to mine also. So that's just a little example of how that works, right? And that therapeutic space. Any questions from anybody? Any thoughts?
Alright, so thank you so much, Kacho, for coming and being part of that.